So I bet it feels really good to be able to continue this legacy, even when you're not there. You know, you're doing things. You've got a team working. So that must feel really good.
It does for sure. I ultimately wanted to start my own nonprofit just from seeing how good of a person my dad was to complete strangers.
I also saw that you guys had like a little bit of a secret language between the two of you.
He definitely was coach from the sideline, but he knew that he didn't want to do too much to where like I'm solely just looking for him for advice and stuff like that. I ain't gonna lie, I was the type of person to be like, "C's get degrees," and I was like, "I got me through high school."
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Coop. I'm your host, Olivia Thompson. I am super excited to be starting this journey with you guys. Feels like a long time coming, and I'm super excited to see this vision come off the ground. The purpose of this podcast is to highlight the behind-the-scenes people at this university who you might not see a lot, but have huge, impactful roles, who I also have personal connections with, and I want to share it with you guys. Welcome. It's going to be a great time, and I'm very excited to get started. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of The Coop, the show that celebrates the past and present sung and unsung legends of USC athletics. I'm your host, Olivia Thompson, and today I am joined by a very special guest, a not only South Carolina legend, a Gamecock women's basketball legend, just a freaking bad individual. Today I am joined by Alaina Coates. Alaina, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Of course. Normally, I start this show by asking my guests what they've been up to, but clearly you are not here. So let's tell the people what you've been up to lately.
Yeah, so for the past couple of months, I have been playing professionally in Italy. Unfortunately, the last 3 weeks I've been out because I had a tear in my meniscus. So I had surgery and I've been spending the last couple of weeks rehabbing and getting back right. But we play again next Saturday and I'll be back on the court by then.
That's very exciting. I bet you'll be very happy to be back.
Yes, very much so. Sitting on that sideline is not fun. Like being a cheerleader is fun. And I loved being able to put myself in a different type of leadership role from the bench when, you know, I'm someone who starts and I play a lot of minutes over here and having to be able to take what I give them on the court and find another means of giving them that, but from the sideline. It's been cool to do, but I'm ready to get back on the hardwood now. I ain't gonna lie.
Definitely. And we were talking before the show that this is like the best experience you've had overseas in your playing career. So that's a very positive thing.
This is a very good team, very good organization. And this is my first time being in Italy, so I have no complaints.
Yeah. Oh, I bet it's amazing over there.
Oh, yeah.
So I was doing some research before we got on the show, and you recently started a nonprofit a couple years ago. What's it? Yeah, talk to me about that, and also what has it been like managing that while being overseas? Because you've been overseas consistently and in the WNBA since that started. So how is that that nonprofit start like working for you?
So my nonprofit is called the Alaina Coates FAM Foundation, FAAM. The F stands for family. The first A is for academics because academics is important. The second is for athletics, and the M is for mentorship. And ultimately, my goal is to strive for community engagement and youth development. And honestly, it hasn't been as rough as I thought it would be. I have an amazing board of trustees, and I also have, I don't like to consider like the people who volunteer for my foundation as like just volunteers. So we call them like our champions. And I have so many champions and just people who understand that, I am a professional athlete and I do have a lot on my plate, but they also understand that that is my baby. And that's something that I absolutely have wanted to do for a long time. And now that I'm able to be able to do specific things, I'll get into those a little bit in a second,
Hmm.
for my community and just for the youth and everybody, I'm just truly blessed to be able to have people who see what I want to do and be able to help me do it. And just like some of the things that like staples that we've done, we first and foremost, we have scholarships that we give out every year. Um, we have enrichment scholarships. So basically, we have um, we've got three different scholarships for students who are rising ninth through 12th graders. And there's one for sports, there's one for education, and then there's one for music or performing arts. And basically, the process is simple. You just, we have applications and stuff. You fill out the applications, make sure that you fulfill all the requirements and then everything. And those are for about $250 each. Um, a lot of the things that we see that people write in for are like, like band camp or sports camps, AAU type things, stuff of that nature. And then we also have one for educators, which is also $250. As soon as I found out that those pizza parties that I was having when I was in elementary school, like the teachers had to come out of pocket for that, I was like, that
Yeah.
is so crazy
Yeah.
to me. So I was just like, I have to include my educators as well because there are so many people who want to provide for an even better experience for their students. And I want to be able to help them out. And, you know, anything, I feel like anything is helpful. And then
Mhm.
the biggest one we have is the one that we have in remembrance of my father. That one is for $2,500, and that one is for rising freshmen in college. And
That's
again, same situation, just fill out the application process. I'm the type of person where I understand how hard you can put in effort to like study and all those other things, and your grades might not reflect um, how much work you put in. So
hmm
it's not a GP. There are requirements, but it's not GPA is not necessarily one of them. We ask for applicants to send in what their GPA is, but it's not really something that gets scored on because, like I said, I don't. I like to create equal opportunities, and I feel like you should be penalized, especially if you put in the work. And unfortunately, it just doesn't show up how much you put in because I was that type of
Exactly.
kid. I was that
Me
student. It was
too.
hard,
Me too.
you
I was
know.
not a good test taker. I was smart,
Yeah,
but I just wasn't a good test taker. Yeah.
yes, and math is hard. I don't think people
Oh,
understand how
very.
hard
That was
math is. It's
that was not my subject either.
yeah. Um, but I mean, yeah, we have scholarships and another thing that we do, what we've been doing for the past 2 years, and we have another one coming up in December. We do a free community-wide Christmas event where basically, excuse me, we rent out a space and we decorate it real nice with Christmas theme and everything. And
Mm.
we just invite the people to come out and have fun. We have like Christmas themed bingo, Jeopardy, Family Feud. We feed everybody, of course. This year we will be partnering again with my home church, Brooklyn Baptist, and their youth and teens department vibe. So hopefully the weather is nice and we'll be able to have inflatables out there again. I believe we had line dancing last year. I missed it last year, unfortunately, because I was playing in Turkey, but
Right.
that's one of the things that I absolutely love to go to every year. We have a cinema, we have cupcake and cookie decorating. You can make little ornaments. So just stuff like that to just kind of engage in like community engagement, family engagement, just bring your friend, bring your loved one. Just it's something safe for you to do. I feel like me personally, I feel like there aren't a whole lot of opportunities for people to just come out and do stuff and have fun, especially around the holidays. So that's something that I've been very happy to be able to do. And then the other big thing that I've just been extremely proud of is we have not been able to hold another book drive solely because of the amount of books that we got when we did it the first time.
Oh, wow.
Coach Daly allowed me to hold a book drive at the LSU and the Florida games last year, at one of the LSU and the Florida games, and we received well over 2,000 books. And the
Wow.
initial goal was to make a bookshelf for the Ronald McDonald House in Columbia, and we were able to do that. And now we are pretty much looking for anybody who would like free books, who would like a bookshelf, anything of that nature. I'm a reader. I love to read. So it's also a way to help promote, like, just, pick up a book, read a book. And there's books of all genres, all age ranges. Parents can pick some up for their kids. High school students, you can pick some up for yourself. Just anybody can just come and get a book. Where the goal is to encourage reading. So yeah.
Yes, that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, we'll be sure to include that in the show notes because I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think it's amazing how involved in the community you are. But you've always, community has always been extremely important to you. So I bet it feels really good to be able to continue this legacy, even when you're not there. You're doing things. You've got a team working. So that must feel really good.
It does, for sure. I ultimately wanted to start my own nonprofit just from seeing how good of a person my dad was to complete strangers, and how he was so willing to step out of himself and be helpful to people in so many different ways. And that stuck with me as I got older. And when I was attending USC, I was definitely one of the ones that if there was an opportunity for a community service, whether it was to go reading to the kids or the plethora of community service opportunities they had, I was always one of the first ones to be like, I want to go, what we doing? So
that's amazing. I think that's really special. Now, before we talk more about your professional career, I want to take it back to the beginning of time or of your basketball timeline, I should say. When you first started playing, I'd love to know what got you into the sport and some of your earliest memories from that time.
So I actually didn't pick up a basketball until I was like 8 years old. When I first started, I was a cheerleading, gymnastics, soccer player. And I have an older brother, and he was playing basketball, rec league. And I saw him, honestly, by that time, we both were relatively tall for our age. So I saw him doing it, and I was just like, oh, this looks like something I would want to do. This looks fun. And then I go to Friars Gate Park, get in the rec league, and then, yeah, it was just cool from there. And honestly, one of my favorite memories from them is there was always this one team that we would lose to in the regular season. We would win every other game except for this one team. And then we made it to the championship day, and we finally beat that team. And from way back when, that was definitely one of my favorite memories. So I was like, finally, we finally beat this team. It's been forever. And then, it just went up from there. I started getting into AAU. The first team I ever played for was South Carolina Crush. The Carolina Crush, sorry. We didn't put South Carolina in front of it. And luckily I was able to continue to play for my coach, who was my rec league coach. And yeah, I made a lot of lifelong friends there. And I didn't even know that we would still be friends to this day. One of those friends, I was a bridesmaid in her wedding. I keep in touch with so many of those girls. And I really didn't know that we would end up, when I was a kid, I just showed up to practice. I didn't know where people lived. I didn't understand school zoning and stuff. So when I got older and I was like, oh, hey, I know you. You're my teammate. I was like, we're so cool. So
that's cool.
Those little
That's
memories
very
and
cool.
moments. Yeah, I definitely love those.
For sure. And I read that your dad had a huge impact on you in like the beginning of your time playing basketball. And I also saw that you guys had like a little bit of a secret language between the two of you because his voice carried at games, and that might come across a little bit daunting to other people, but you guys knew what's up. So tell me a little bit about
Yeah.
that.
So he definitely was coach from the sideline, but he knew that he didn't want to do too much to where like I'm solely just looking for him for advice and stuff like that. So we after some communications and stuff, because it did take us a minute to get there. You know, his voice carries, and
Hmm.
I'm Big Daddy's girl. So there was a moment in time where we kind of had to be like, all right, Dad, look, like I feel like you're just yelling at me, and I'm not really feeling like it's constructive. So we had to sit down and have a heart to heart, and then that's when we ended up coming up with like the signals and stuff, and that really came into play when I was at USC. Because you
Really?
already know, Coach Daly wasn't playing that. Like you worried about what's going on in the stands, you're gonna be sitting to the left or right. I mean, we're not doing that. So
Right.
I would find like little moments to look in. If my energy was like a little down or whatever, like he would act like he was cranking a dial up or whatever, like I would need to turn my energy up. Or if he could tell that I had a little, not too much energy, but maybe it was a little like anxious or like nervous energy, he would just kind of like, you like calm down type of
Hmm.
stuff. And it was just
Hmm.
real subtle things because he didn't want to do too much to where like I'm staring at him and not paying attention to like what's going on in the court. But it was just small little things. I mean, hopefully one day
Yeah.
with my kids, I'll be able to do the same thing.
Absolutely. And that's nice that he was open to accommodating, because a lot of parents, they're, well, I don't care. I have something to say. I'm just going to say it. But he was
Yeah.
very well he was very willing to work with you, and y'all come up with your thing. And I think that's really cute that y'all had y'all a language between y'all. And another person who had a huge impact on your basketball career before you got to South Carolina was Norris at Dutch Fork. Um, Talk to me about your relationship with her and just like that pivotal time.
I love her so much. I cried so bad when she told me she was going to retire. I love her to death. She
I bet.
literally helped me with like the stepping stones leading up into college, and to kind of like dig deeper into that. I mean, like she really helped me understand that like my attitude, I wasn't going to be able to just have like a bad attitude and it fly. Like I'm playing for literally one of the best one country coaches in the country,
Uh,
and I'm going to a program that literally is in a rebuilding stage, and she's not, and she was a no nonsense coach, and I feel like because I started playing for her when I was in the eighth grade. So, I'm young, and I just genuinely feel like Coach Norris really helped me as I continue to grow like every year in high school, to help me start forming like, qualities of a good teammate and of being a leader. Because obviously, when I was a senior, I was a captain, and even then it was some more lessons I needed to learn. Like I needed to understand that I couldn't, talk to everybody the same way that I talk to everybody. Like some people you have to be a
mhm.
little bit more softer. Your tone can't be as like abrasive, but you have to figure out how to get that message across. And those are just little things that like I'll always appreciate her for. And she didn't take my nonsense. Like
Mhm.
I appreciate that she didn't just let me run amok and do whatever I wanted to do, because I can only imagine how that would have translated once I got to Coach Daly. And ultimately, I love her to death, and I have so much respect
Mhm.
for her. And I couldn't even imagine coming into her space and her organization and her team acting a plum fool. So I appreciate, I really appreciate Coach Norris for really just taking the time and seeing something in me and being like, you're going to be great. You are great, and I need you to be great in all aspects. And I will always love her for that. And I will always
Yeah.
love the fact that for her final season of coaching, she asked me to be her assistant coach too. That was great.
That is very special. And that's something I wanted to touch on. Also, I bet that was like, that felt really good to have that invite extended to you from someone who had such an impact on you in your basketball career. What was it like being an assistant coach at your alma mater high school?
It was cool. I ain't gonna lie. It was real cool. I used to joke around and say like, oh, whenever Coach Norris retires, I feel like I want to take over Dutchport. And I mean, that's not out the cards. I feel like Coach Bush is doing a great job right now with the program and how it's going. But it was different because we work the camps at USC and it's like you're coaching really for like a week and then that's it. So I'm just like, how do I go about doing this? Like, this is a season long. Like, how do I like fit it in stuff? But the way that I was able to, or I feel like the way that I was able to make assistant coaching work for me was I would actually get into practice with them. So like there was actually a period of time before I was assistant coaching where Coach Norris would allow me and some of the old players to come in and be practice players against like the team and stuff. So she still allowed me to do it as an assistant coach and knowing what it was that she wanted while also mixing in just the knowledge that I have as a professional athlete and just all the different teams and organizations I played with. It was easy for me to understand what it was that she wanted from them and to be able to articulate that while also not overstepping my boundaries.
Exactly. You're in a leadership position, but also extremely relatable to them. So that's a very good thing and a very necessary part of coaching and what makes a good coach. So that's a really good experience for you.
Yeah, and I also like that by them playing against me, it helped them with the not being terrified against playing against like stronger and taller people. Because like you're coming into practice and you're playing against me every day. I'm not backing up for y'all because at the end of the day, I'm doing y'all a disservice if I'm just out here like, oh, I'm gonna just throw my hands up. No, figure out how to get around me and score. Like I'm here for y'all's benefit. I'm more of a hands-on, get in the mix type of coach. That's what I like to consider myself.
That's good. I like that. I still find it like really funny that you and I are from basically the same hometown. Like we grew up like right down the door from each other. And you played AAU for Coach Dickerson with Asia, and I grew up being trained by him too. So like I think that's really cool. But what was your AAU experience like with them too?
It was cool. So my first year, so I bounced around a little bit. I was a kid, so I kind of didn't really have too much of a say. So I had to, go where my parents pretty much took me. But my first year with the Palmetto 76ers, I was a little reserved just solely because I had been with the Carolina Crush and I had played for the South Carolina Stars for a little bit. So for me, I was I'm still bashful, but I was a very shy kid. So when it came to meeting new people, I was just like, I don't know how this is going to be. Like, I don't know how the girls are going to be. But that team was like the most fun to play with ever. And actually, the first year that we played together, because I'm not sure if like people know this or not, but Asia hit a growth spurt somewhere in like either late middle school or high school. Because I was taller than her at one point, like way back in the day. She was like shorter than me, came up to like my shoulder. I think her dad had her playing as a guard, actually. I hope she,
really?
Yeah. I don't know about that. I just remember the pictures and stuff. We were all goofy looking kids, but it's just Asia was like super skinny, and she was just like. I used to imagine her dribbling that ball down the court. Like from her then to now, it's a huge difference, obviously. But
it was for sure.
I feel like Coach Dickerson did such a great job of putting together like a group of girls that were cool. Like I don't remember ever having like any, especially like younger, because you know how like young women can be. I don't ever really remember having much of issues with anything. I feel like we would travel. We would want to hang out together. We always had so much fun. And the thing that I really loved about Coach Dickerson is he did not care what position you played. You're gonna be able to dribble this ball and you're gonna be able to back somebody down in the paint. I don't care how tall or short you are. And I was just like,
Exactly.
I don't like ball handling and all this other stuff. But like now that I'm older, I'm just like,
Makes you
he was
appreciate that.
spitting. Yes, he
Hmm.
makes me appreciate it so much because you got to think about it. We're at a point now where they want fives, shooting threes, and if a
Hmm.
PG got the post up, they're gonna tell him to go post them up, especially if you're strong enough.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
he was teaching well ahead of his time. I wasn't thinking deep enough to like
Hmm.
truly understand what he was getting, but he knew what he was doing, and I'll always appreciate the fact that because him and my daddy, they had a very good friendship. And I always appreciate that he, led me in the direction of Coach Dickerson because that was a move that I really didn't have a say so in per se, but I would never regret it. And I would never regret the years that I had with him, even when I wasn't with the team, because I played for another organization for a couple of years and then I came back. But I continued to get individual training from Coach Dickerson, and he's an amazing trainer. Like I said, he knows what he's
Definitely.
doing. He knows how to put a team together, and yeah, I'll always be grateful for the experiences that I had with him and that squad.
Absolutely. Yeah, he is a great guy. And I have some good memories of training with him too. Never played for any of his teams, but he's that kind of person. Like it doesn't matter. Like he sees potential in you. He wants to make you better and he cares about you deeply as a person, not just a player.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, throughout your AAU experience, you're getting better every year. You've got the height, you've got the ability, you've got eyes on you. You're with a good organization. When did you start kind of narrowing down like a top five, and what were those teams that you were considering in your high school career before you decided to commit to Carolina?
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I held it off as late as possible because for me, that entire process was overwhelming. Like
Hmm.
any, I always remember this. People would come to practices at Dutch Fork, right? And Coach Norris would always set them up on one side. I would always make sure to do everything on the opposite side because I, and it sounds crazy for somebody who like is a professional athlete. I do not like a lot of attention.
Uh-huh.
So knowing that like a lot of these coaches were there like solely for me and stuff, I was just like, I want to be able to do what I need to do, but with some space. I don't know what it is. I
Hmm.
just don't like attention. But I want to say I probably really didn't think too much into where I wanted to go into college until after we had won the state championship my junior year
Oh,
because
that's a
I
little
kind of had
late.
no choice. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I
Yeah.
kind of had no choice.
Uh-huh. Right.
'Cause it's just like, where are we going to school? And initially, like, I really, well, actually, pretty much was like four of them. So it was North Carolina, like Chapel Hill,
Hmm.
South Carolina, Georgia, and Tennessee. Um, and honestly, Tennessee was very much like high up there, but Pat Summit passed away, and I was just like, I really wanted to like play for her for real. So that
Hmm.
kind of like killed it for me. Um, and then, so a lot of people, I feel like I've said it before, but a lot of people might not know. I had actually told like Coach Staley and like Coach McCray was still on the coaching staff when this happened. I had told them that I wanted to go to UNC Chapel Hill. Granted, I
Okay.
didn't verbally commit or anything. I didn't sign anything, but I had told them I want to go there. And it's funny because, Coach McCray, she was always just like, she would just be like, say her things, not in a negative way, but Coach A would just be like, relax, just give her some time
Hmm.
and time I needed. Because
Yeah.
ultimately, when it came down to it, I was just like, I want to go here. Like, this is home. Because
Hmm.
and it's funny how it ended up turning out. So Tennessee, I know I had verbalized to my parents that I didn't want to go there, but they still wanted me to like take an official visit. So after I had came to the conclusion that I did not want to go to the university, well, UNC Chapel Hill anymore, it was USC, Georgia, and Tennessee. And excuse me. And so took a trip to Georgia. Everything was cool. Like I liked it. Annie was cool. Joni was one of the assistant coaches. Like she was really cool. Like
Okay.
it was a very good
Yeah.
experience. I liked it.
Mhm.
And I could see, I could kind of see me going there. Um, and then I took my trip to USC and I was just like, yeah, they got the major I want. Like, and my biggest thing was, how are you gonna help me with school? Because, like I said, I would try and do my best, but it's just like sometimes it's just all that I can do is not like enough. And
Mhm.
so seeing the Doty and all the access to the extra stuff that we had,
Yeah. Oh
the
yeah.
tutors, the study hall time, all that stuff, I was like, I'm set, I'm lit, we're good.
Yes.
That was, and
Because the
in all
Doty.
honesty, okay,
Sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
no,
I
no,
was.
you
I
go,
was
you go.
saying because the Doty was relatively new when you got there, right? Like it was like a
Yes,
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
it
So
was
that
it
was.
was
I'm sure.
relatively new, and
Hmm.
I thank God that it was there because I I ain't gonna lie, I was the type of person to be like, C's get degrees, and I was like, I got me through high school,
Uh-huh.
so I was just like, I don't want to be a C's get degrees type of person going through college. I want to really like apply myself. Not that I wasn't in high school, but I really wanted to like apply myself, and I just wanted to do really good in the classroom, like for me. And
Hmm.
just seeing all the extra help that I could get, that ultimately is what sold me because everything else was perfect. Like they had basically been like courting me since I was in the eighth grade or whatever. I had been going to the games back when the arena was like almost empty and you could sit anywhere you wanted to.
Hmm.
And as the years kept going, as I kept coming to the games, I kept seeing like Coach Daly picking up the different talents that she was getting, like Elisa Welch, she was getting Tiffany Mitchell, Khadijah Sessions, and I kept seeing the people like the seats filling, and I kept seeing how much better the team kept getting, and I was just like, I'm a sucker for a Cinderella story, which is a big reason why I chose my team out here. And I
Hmm.
was just like, I want to be a part of the greatness that I know this team can be. And yeah, I was, the Doty and all that stuff, the educational stuff, that pretty much was the part that I just needed to like check off the list. Everything else, besides that, it was good. They were already like my family. Like
Yeah. Exactly.
it was, I mean, granted, the rules were way different back when I was still in school
Hmm.
about like how they could contact you and stuff. But it was always love, like, and again, like just the simple fact that Coach Shelley had that reaction and was just like, just give her a minute, just give her a second, like she'll just relax, like she's good. And it's like the fact that like she
Yeah.
knew before I knew, I was just like, I like you, I really like
Yeah.
you. Like I had already liked her
Yes.
before, and I always thought she was cool, but I was like, it's just something about her. I was like, I
Hmm.
feel like she knows what's good for me and in a lot of different areas. And she did. And
Hmm.
I told my parents it was the day before that morning of the end of the official visit. I told them that night I wanted to commit. And then we were at breakfast the next morning and then they were like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I don't know why you keep asking me that. Like I'm very adamant. And
Uh,
so that next morning, we're at breakfast, and Coach Daly, like she's talking and she's saying how how she feels like I would fit in the program and stuff like that. And I was excited to tell her. I couldn't wait for her to stop so I could just like, cool, I want to come here. And
uh,
so then she finally finished, and I was like, all right, cool, I want to come here. She was like, oh,
uh,
okay, cool. So then I signed something, and then
well, she
the
had papers
team
with her. She had like
she
stuff with
had
her.
She had something with her. I can't. I know. You know
Oh my
what? It
God.
was. I think it was. We had to sign something in terms of the official visit, saying that like everything was
Oh,
like
okay.
or something like. I think that's what that was. Um,
I got.
and then the team, they always come. We all we do the send off and all that stuff.
Hmm.
And then they came, and it's funny because I can't remember if it was Tina Roy or Ashley Burner, but they were all coming in and I had said, "Hey, teammate," to one of them, and I don't think it clicked that I said it.
Uh,
And then after Coach Shaley had like, she was just like, "Oh, you know, the da 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 da," she was just like, she committed, and everyone was like, "Yay!" So yeah,
that's
it was a
exciting.
great time. It was a
And
great
it's,
time.
even if she didn't already kind of have a little assumption that you would have flipped, the way she handles recruits telling her that she doesn't want to come to their school is just so professional. Because you see, oftentimes you tell a coach you're not coming, and they flip out. And it's like, okay, well, even if I changed my mind and decided that I did want to come here, that's out the window because you just handled that so juvenile. Like, you see that way too much. So that's just, more on the person she is.
No facts, because she definitely could have been like, "All right, well, we're gonna look elsewhere," and she kept that space open for me. And now that I think about it, I'm just like, she kept that space open. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's amazing.
Mm-hmm. It really is.
I couldn't be more grateful for that.
Yeah. And then
For her.
I know she's amazing. And then you get to South Carolina, and you said earlier that you're a shy girl. So you're transitioning from high school to college. Was there a particular teammate that you kind of like latched onto early on, who just kind of made you feel more open and free to express yourself? Because it can be hard. I mean, that transition in general is difficult, but especially when you're a more reserved person, it helps you a lot to have a person who you can kind of attach to. Like my person was Letitia, my roommate. I was kind of shy. I was kind of shy too, but I was very open and myself around her. Did you have someone like that when you first came to college?
Were you talking about LA?
Yeah.
Oh, I love her.
That's my girl.
She is so cool.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's in Perth right now. She's in Australia. So I'm going to try to
Oh,
visit. Yeah, I'm going to try to visit her soon because apparently she has an extra room and I've always wanted to go to Australia. So, but yeah,
oh, you might as
enough
well.
about,
You might as well.
right. Enough about me though.
Sorry, no, sorry.
You're
Oop,
good.
oop, 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 oop. Then drop my phone.
Whoa,
Sorry.
whoa, whoa,
Um,
whoa.
so my person was, and it's crazy because we had played against her, I think maybe once or twice in high school, and I'm a victim. I mean, I'm always a victim because people think I'm mean based off of my face and stuff. So I thought she was mean,
Uh,
but Khadijah Sessions, like
Khadijah. Oh my gosh. Okay. That's
I
awesome.
latched, I latched on to D so quick, and it's just so crazy because I remember, I can't remember if we were all in the same room or not, but I remember back when we were still staying in South Quad. And I remember we was in like the living room part, and I was just sitting on the couch, and she was sitting in the chair, and we was just talking for a long time, and it's just like I was just like expressing myself to her, and just I could talk to her about anything. Like I
Mhm.
love D down, yeah. D
Yeah,
was
she's
definitely the
awesome.
person. I love D was definitely the person that I connected with the most and the fastest, and I didn't expect it, and I think that's what I love
Mhm.
about it so much. I didn't expect it, not thinking anything negatively of her, but I was just like, of all the people, it was really Khadijah.
Yeah,
That's kind of dope, and I love
that
her
is
down to
cool.
death,
Yeah. Are
and I
you
love
guys
that
still
her
pretty
first
close?
year, like, oh, absolutely, absolutely. I was so happy when I saw that she was going to be an assistant coach with
I
Coach
know,
Staley.
right?
Cause I was like, oh, this is perfect. And I absolutely love that, like her first year being an assistant coach, she gets a ring and all
You
that
kidding?
stuff. Like
Right.
it was
Right.
just so perfect. And I just feel like this, she's perfect for the organization. She's perfect for the program. And she's such a nice person, and she's goofy as all get out. Like I love when camp time comes around because then I'll be able to see her, and she can
Yes.
just be herself. Well, she's on the coaching side now, but I love D. She's
Yeah.
literally the best. She's literally the
Yes.
best.
That's very cool. She is amazing. I love her so much, so much. And I mean, a lot of the players from your time at South Carolina are just so much fun. Like I love Tina. I love Ash. She's like hilarious. Ashley's so funny. I love her.
Tina such a freaking clown. Tina and Ashley actually. Ashley don't know
Yeah.
how to act, and Tina's a clown. But yeah, no, I
I
would
want to.
definitely agree.
Yeah, I want to talk more about your time at South Carolina because you were on a very transformative team. And I mean, ever since Coach Staley joined the team in '08, I mean, it was just like every year getting better and better. But for your first 3 years, you guys had a lot of success and then went to the NCAA tournament and either lost in the semi or like the national championship game. Wasn't it you lost in the Final Four and then the national championship game? Or was it the because I saw it was I think it was regional. You lost in the regional twice, and then it was either like the national championship or Sweet Six or Elite Eight, something
Okay,
like that.
okay. So ooh, my freshman year, we lost to North Carolina in the Sweet 16.
Hmm.
My sophomore year, we made it to we made it to the Final Four.
Okay.
I ain't never gonna forget this. We technically lost off of a missed box out and a putback against Notre Dame. I remember that game. And then we couldn't convert in the last couple. It was all within the last couple of seconds too. And
Uh,
then my junior year, we lost in the Sweet 16, Syracuse. And then my senior year, we won the national championship against not A&M, Mississippi State, but that was
yeah,
the year I got injured and I couldn't even be there.
I know. I
But that
wanted
was the
to.
year we played at Mississippi State for like every single freaking championship, national
Yeah,
championship, the SEC tournament
SEC.
championship,
Yeah,
and just for the regular season. I was like, yo, this is crazy work for real.
I
But
know. I know. It seems to always come down to like you and the same team. Like now it's LSU. It's always
yeah,
something. But those
always
first
something.
3 years, you guys had a lot of success, and then you get to the end of your season, and you're hit with just a very tough loss. Like that's a lot of adversity to work through. Like what kind of kept you guys going and motivated during that time? I mean, that can be very, very difficult. Talk to me about that.
In all honesty, I feel like in the back of everyone's minds, we really wanted to be a part of that team to finally bring like that first one home,
Hmm.
because I want to say the furthest that any team had gotten under Coach Staley was Sweet 16. And me personally, I always would play for, like, I play for everybody, but I would specifically play for my seniors because I knew what it was like well, I witnessed what it was like to do your big one and play your hardest all season, and then you get to what you don't realize is your last game of the season. Well, not of the season, of your like career in that time, and then that's
Yeah.
it. And just seeing how like upset and down it was. And in all honesty, my eighth grade year, we lost to Elisa Welch's team. I want to say it was in the quarterfinals or the semifinals. Actually, no, it
Hmm.
wasn't. It was the second round of playoffs. Duh. And
It hurt. It hurt equally like it was the state championship game, right?
yeah, it was gut wrenching, and was I'm an empath. So seeing like my
Hmm.
seniors like cry and be upset, like it made me sad. But I
Oh yeah.
remember that was one of those moments where Coach Norris was just like, "Don't be down too much. Like you still have so much left to give." And in that moment, I was just like, I don't like that feeling for my upperclassmen, let alone my seniors. I don't want anybody to go through that feeling again. So I feel like for me, when it came to like postseason, I wanted to do everything in my power to put my seniors in the best spot that we could be in, which is holding the trophy over our hands and have the confetti rain down on us. And unfortunately, there were a lot of situations where we fell short. Freshman year, we fell short. Do I feel like we needed more pieces to the puzzle? Absolutely. Sophomore year, it really sucked because we got so close. Like we made it to the big stage, and
Hmm.
then just knowing that the championship game was one game away, and we just got knocked out right there. I was just like, this is crazy. And I remember Ellum being emotional. I remember Lisa crying, and it was just a lot. And I was just like, I don't like I genuinely hate that for my seniors. And then
Hmm.
the following year when we lost to Syracuse in the Sweet 16, like that was the year that like Tiff, Tiff Mitchell, Khadijah,
Oh
like
wow.
all of them were my. I was just like, oh my God, I was
Oh,
just
I bet you
wanted
were
to get
sick.
there.
Yeah.
I was
Oh my God.
so
Yeah.
sick because I was just like, I think me and Asia had like some mean double doubles that game too, but I was just like, I my biggest thing is I don't want anybody going out sad. Like I always want us to win. At the end of the day, I always
Mhm.
just want my team to win. That's why I never care about how many points I'm putting up, how many rebounds I'm grabbing. I'm trying to do whatever I can. I don't care how it like shows up in the stat sheet. I
Mhm.
want the dub to be on our side at the end of the game. And I ain't gonna lie, of all the end of season losses, the one where Khadijah was my senior, that one hurt me the most because
Yeah, I believe that. That's your
I really
girl.
wanted her. Yeah, I really wanted her to get that. I really wanted us to get that ring, but I really wanted her. I really wanted her to get that. Um,
Hmm.
and then came senior year. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to play, but
Right.
my teammates held it down. So I mean,
Yeah.
unfortunately, I've never. That's why I say I've never had that experience. Because even at Dutch Sport, my senior year we went undefeated, so we didn't have to. I didn't know what it was like to lose at that stage, and then just same thing in college. I got to my senior year, and my team was able to hold it down, and we got a ring. So I don't know what like that specific feeling
Hmm.
felt like, but ultimately, I just feel like I wanted to do everything I could. And I just really feel like everyone just wanted to, I don't know, we wanted to be number one in the country. We wanted to be the team that was on everybody's, on their minds and, come out their lips. Cause, that was during the time frame of UConn supremacy, Stewie,
Hmm.
Mariah
Oh yeah.
Jefferson,
Yep.
Mosquito Lewis, all of them. So yeah. And it's like everyone wanted to be that team to be the one to beat them for real. And
Absolutely.
that also, I mean, it wasn't like the main driving force because at the end of the day, we have to focus on ourselves. It was a big like force in it. But yeah,
Hmm. I mean, I remember watching the game that Mississippi State and UConn played in the Final Four, where you're watching this and you're like, they're really about to beat them. Like they're really like Mississippi State is really about to beat UConn right now. Like this
that
is
game was
crazy.
nuts.
Yes,
That
I
game went
swear.
nuts.
And well, to digress back to your senior season, you against Missouri initially. You had an ankle injury against Missouri, correct? And
Yeah.
then some time went on and you came back for your senior game and then you re-injured yourself. I honestly had forgotten that due to that injury, you couldn't even go to the NCAA tournament because you had to be so stagnant. Like that's that's a lot. I mean, you're a senior. This is your final year of college basketball. You're finally making it to that stage. Like what's your headspace like during that time? I mean, that's a lot to handle.
I'm not gonna lie, it sucked. It sucked real bad. Because I'm the type of player, if you say I can, I will, especially when it comes to playing. So like after that first initial injury at Missouri, my ankle was like swollen and stuff, but it wasn't too bad at that point. We had did some treatments and everything, and then I was able to come back for the senior night. And it was just so weird because everything was fine. It felt normal. I'm running back down the court after scoring a basket, and I just feel this big pop in my ankle. And I always say it looks like I got hit by an invisible sniper because I'm literally just running down the court, and then I just like topple over. And then that's when they take me out. And then I shouldn't have, but I tried to play one more time in the SEC tournament, and I'm pretty sure that's when the finisher like happened because I was trying to do like a spin move or whatever, and I felt like I could literally feel like my ligaments rip inside
Oh,
of my ankle. it was bad. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But it was rough. Um, I had never suffered an injury of that altitude. The worst I had ever done was in high school. I tore my left meniscus. I was back in like 2.5 weeks.
Mhm.
Um, I'd never had anything of that magnitude happen. So it was a lot. Um, and not saying that, I wasn't close with my teammates, but I couldn't deal with the fact that, they're they're in a group chat talking about what we bringing to this trip, or what menu are we supposed to be ordering food from here and stuff like that. Because in my mind,
Mhm.
I'm just like, I can't go, I can't move, I can't do anything. And I'm not saying I was depressed, but I was just in a very, very low spot. And
Mhm.
I felt like I didn't really have anyone to truly like understand what I was going through. And I felt like I didn't want to burden my teammates with what I was going through, like in my head. So I really leaned on like my parents and like my family and the guy I was dating at the time.
Mhm.
And I wouldn't necessarily say I shunned them out, but I definitely like kept them at bay because
Mhm.
I I knew that they had bigger fish to fry, and I knew that they understood that a leading scorer and their top rebounder was out. So somebody, if not some people, were going to have to figure out who's going to do what to help pick up in this space. But it sucked, and to not even be
Yeah.
able to
Yeah.
go to the national championship, it sucked even worse. I was just,
Yeah.
I mean, luckily I was able to have a wonderful friend of mine. She's like my big sister. She actually was one of my seniors when I was in the 8th grade. Um,
Okay.
a friend of hers family, they had like a little watch party for the game and everything. So it was a really good time. But I will say, like, because Coach, well, did y'all have the no social media rule?
Yeah, briefly we had the thing where you turn your phones in and then you don't post and stuff like that. Yeah, we had that for a few years. But
Okay.
I think that ended after like my sophomore year. Yeah.
Yeah, time I say she's letting them do whatever now.
Yeah,
But
That's what Kayla was saying too. We were like she gets softer every year and like y'all are bitter about it. But we're
yeah,
lucky.
she's gonna get soft after we leave. Because I remember, I really did want to be respectful of the rule and stuff, but I knew after that it was the last game of the season. Because I remember there were three specific people on this one outlet that were speaking about me not being at the national championship game and just like saying their little like comments and whatnot. And I'm just like, I'm just gonna put this out there like on social media. Like I went to Twitter and I was just like in all caps, I was like, my doctor literally said I can't go.
Right. Like you
Pipe
think I
down.
wouldn't go? You think I wouldn't go? Like, what do you mean? Like clearly I'm being
Right.
restricted. Like, come on.
Right. Like I'm still on my little scoot in my cast. Like, what do you like? And
Right. Like
I thought it was just very like distasteful to
it
even be
is.
like saying that because at the end of the day, at that point, the extent of my injury was released. Like clearly I'm not there. So people asking questions and I had the surgery already. So Coach Staley was, not just like throwing it out there to everybody, but she mindfully had let it be known what was going on and that I was resting and all that stuff and that I wouldn't be with the team. So to be saying anything, in my opinion, I was just like, yeah, y'all suck. But
Ignorant. So ignorant.
yeah,
Yeah.
I thought I was very ignorant. I was just like, y'all are boo.
Distasteful.
But
I know,
yeah, it
for
was just
real.
very distasteful. But I mean, I had a lot of love and support surrounding me during that time. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
it
very
was rough,
important.
but yeah,
Yeah.
it
Oh
was
yeah,
rough, but it was a
definitely.
good time.
And then I mean to add to that, as soon as the season's over, because you guys immediately go to the WNBA draft. Like it's like boom, boom, championship game, and then draft. And at that time, you were the highest draft pick in program history, second overall pick to Chicago Sky, not to be specific. But tell me about that, because I mean, you're still dealing with this injury and your recovery, and then you transition to the WNBA, and it's a super, super fast transition, and you're just kind of thrown in there. Talk to me about that a little bit.
It was definitely a whirlwind, but I definitely want to say I wish Amber Stocks would have gotten more of a chance. She, in terms of coaches I've had in the W, I feel like, aside from Becky, I feel like she has been literally like the most understanding and the most patient when it came to me, because she understood even when I was able to come that next year to actually play, that I probably wouldn't be 100%. And just because you get drafted, it doesn't mean you automatically make the team. You still have to make the roster. And I can definitely say I was ill prepared. I didn't understand what it took to make like that jump in terms of that transition, but she was more than willing to be patient with me. I feel like she was the only coach who ever said anything and was just like, look, I need you to work on X, Y, and Z. And she even was like, I'll come in the gym and do X, Y, and Z with you. And it translated into practices, and I was able to get more playing time because of that, which I always appreciate, because a lot of coaches don't do stuff like that. And I understand you're a professional athlete and you should be working on your stuff anyways, but when I was that young and like I'm just coming in, the basketball culture was different from then to now. We needed more Amber Stocks in the league. I'm gonna just say that. But
shout out to Amber.
It was shout out to Amber. It truly was a lot though, because it was like the season ended and I think the draft was like not too long after that. Again, I'm still in my little scoot, still on my cast. Gotta be moving all over the place and everything. It was a lot, but in a good way. But it was also very fun. Like draft night was very fun. I mean, I didn't know what to expect. Now they did change it up with us, so I think we had like 2 to 3 people at a table with our families and stuff. We didn't get like the little round tables and stuff like how they do now. But it was still just cool to be able to have that experience, to be able to have my name be called. And in my opinion, I didn't know. I thought my stock dropped because I was injured. I didn't know what was going to happen. I really didn't know what was going to happen. And when they called me number 2, I was, like I said, I was shocked. And I had a lot of people ask me and like text me after and was just like, yo, did you even want to go to Chicago? I was like, no, I promise you, like, I was cool. It just caught me off guard. I didn't know, I didn't expect to go number 2. Like, I'm injured as crap. Like, I'm literally scooting
they took
around
a chance
over here. I was like, she took a chance on me, which is why I will always be thankful to her. And I'm so thankful that entry-wise into the league, she was the coach that I had. Because she definitely made me have a season to, remember. I mean, granted, we didn't, make playoffs or anything like that, but I had a very good time. I learned a lot. I had some good vets on that team. I made some very good friendships, and love you, Amber.
Yes, well, that's very special. This is off the record, but we're like close to an hour, and I do have like a time limit on these things, but we have so much more to talk about. And I'm very sad about it. But what? I know, that's what I was gonna say. I'll just have you back. Like when you're back, what we should do? We should have like you and Khadijah on or something like that. You and one of the people from your class, and we could just kind of like have a bit of a powwow. And even just have you again, because there's a lot more to your history that I would love to get into, but I have a time limit with these guys.
No, I got you. I actually do come back for like a week in February, if that is okay.
Perfect.
Okay,
That's
cool.
absolutely perfect. Yes. Okay. So I have just like, we're about to be back on the record soon, but I have
Okay.
just a few more things to ask you. Just two more things. So,
Okay.
all right. So, before we conclude each episode, by the way, this has been a great conversation. I've really, really enjoyed having you on and here to talk about your life and your experience. You're a very interesting person. But before we finish each episode, I like to ask each of my guests two questions. Got to keep it consistent. The first one is, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received or would like to share to others?
The best piece of advice I've ever gotten is definitely to go where you are celebrated and not where you're tolerated, because your experience will be that much different, and you will be able to thrive and be able to do what you do if you are in an environment where you are cherished and loved and not where they're just putting up with you.
Absolutely. That's very good advice. And I mean, that applies to every situation you walk into, especially sports, but
Oh yeah.
every situation, every walk of life, that's a very good thing to keep in the back of your head. So, the second question is, if you weren't a basketball player, what would you be doing?
I would be trying to professionally throw shot put because I miss it very much.
Are you serious? That is
Yeah.
hilarious. So you did that in high school too? Did you do track and basketball in high school, or just like you just like shot put?
I did. They tried to make me do the 4x1 relay at one point. I was like,
Yeah.
but I did shot put for about like either 2 to 3 years, and I actually won state for it. And
Are you serious? That's so cool. Wow, that's awesome. So you'd still be like out there in Paris in the Olympics doing shot put. I see that. I could see that. I could see that. Totally. Totally. That's hilarious. I love that though. That's like very niche and not what I expected to hear at all. But that's why I love asking. That's why I love asking these questions, because you get like the most random but interesting things. So that's very cool. Well, Alaina, thank you so much for being on. It's been very nice talking to you, and we'll definitely have to have you back because we have a lot more to get into as far as your life goes. But for now, I wish you the best in Italy. I hope you have a great off season, and I'm very happy that you're back and you're all rehabbed and ready to go. And I hope to see you soon. So good luck with everything, and thank you for being on.
thanks for
All
having
right.
me.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun. All right. Well, that concludes this episode of Coop, and we will see you guys next time.